As a viewer of this show, you've certainly seen some incredible footage from around the world. But what happens if you catch something unexplainable on your own camera? Well, you send it to us, of course, and one viewer from Alaska did just that. It's October in Anchorage, and Chip Freeman has grabbed his digital camera to document some fresh snow around his house. Yes, it snows in October up there, so that's not a surprise, but what his camera is about to record certainly is. As we pan across Chip's property, a strange stationary vertical purple beam of light appears in front of him, and it's still there when he pans the camera back to the same spot. Chip says he noticed the strange beam as he was rolling.
I kind of paused for a moment, trying to figure out what this was. I took my eye off the viewer and noticed that I couldn't see it by the naked eye. It was only through the camera lens that you could see this, which also was intriguing.
Journalist MJ Benaya says this area of Alaska is a hotbed of strange happenings.
There's a lot of stories out there where there's strange electromagnetic forces or portals that exist in this area. Similar to a lot of the theories that exist around the Bermuda Triangle, random gateways to other worlds will open up or wormholes will occur and planes will go missing into them.
A stunning 16,000 people have reportedly vanished in the so-called Alaska Triangle since the late 80s. Field researcher Ken Gerhardt has actually been up here to research such activity.
Some of the stranger cases that I've investigated, back in 1950, for example, a Douglas C-54D military craft, an airplane with 44 personnel on board, vanished on the Alaska-Yukon border without a trace. And there was a massive search mounted, and to this day, no trace of that particular airplane has ever been found.
Gerhardt thinks Chip's sighting could be some of the same anomalous energy fields emanating from below the Alaska Triangle that are also rumored to cause many of the strange disappearances in the area.
Lights like this could in fact be geological or electromagnetic discharges from the Earth, basically concentrated energy beams that are being projected upward into the heavens.
I really do want to know what this is. There's just so many strange phenomena that happens here.
Perhaps the most famous incident in the Alaska Triangle happened in 1972, when a plane carrying U.S. Congressman Hale Boggs disappeared there without a trace. So might those unsolved mysteries actually connect somehow to what Chip caught on camera? Chip, you know what's coming next. Astrophysicist Hakeem Oluseyi initially thinks this is not the result of an energy portal, but instead light interacting with a transparent surface. However,
what I saw looked to me like a sort of optical effect that I've seen on glass. So I could see that sort of effect, like a reflection. But it turns out that the camera's outdoors. They're not looking through a window.
the beam would stay centered if it were a mere reflection, so this beam instead could be a spectrum of light that the camera sensor can pick up, but that the human eye can't. But Oluseyi also has his doubts.
Typically, if you had a beam like this, because the ultraviolet or X-ray has such short wavelengths, they're going to be very strongly scattered in the air.
If this were an invisible energy discharge being picked up by the camera, we would see more of a static effect emanating from the center of the beam than the concentrated line in Chip's video. Photography expert Andrew McCarthy believes the answer does in fact involve visible light, and how when it's particularly bright, it can cause a glitch in how an individual pixel on a digital camera sensor processes one part of the image, aka the readout.
Basically what happens is once the readout gets too high on a specific pixel, it bleeds into the neighboring pixel. And if that happens excessively, it'll actually bleed down an entire stripe of pixels on that camera. That appears to be what we're looking at here.
Since the digital camera sensor is a grid of pixels, the line of purple light is actually a column of pixels being overloaded by sunlight in one spot. And the age of the camera is another clue.
This image came from 2004. So those sensors back then are a little bit different. They don't have today's modern technology that prevents artifacts like this.
So Chip, here's where we are landing. That purple light beam is the result of overexposure on the camera's digital sensor, and while the footage is not connected to the anomalies in the Alaska Triangle, the high rate of disappearances in the region should still give the rest of us food for thought.